Good evening, everyone. It's Chris from HashRelay.net, and today I thought we'd talk about initial coin offerings, or ICOs. But first, a quick market update. As you can see, the global market cap is sitting at $412 billion. Daily trading volume is $36.7 billion. And Bitcoin dominance is holding strong at 35.2%. The price of Bitcoin is down around $8,600, and the change in the all-time low, or in the 24-hour, is still pretty negative. Not as drastic as yesterday's negatives, but if we hop over to the 7-day percent change, you can see that everything is still 20 to 30% down. And if we look at on-chain FX, down from the all-time high, you can see that a few of the bigger names are doing not as poorly. Ethereum, Neo, Lisk, all under 50% off of their all-time highs. Everything else, half off, 60%, 70% down from their all-time high. So if you've got an altcoin you love, chances are it's on a great sale. Now, how are you going to find the altcoins that you love? One of the best tactics is to research ICOs. And in fact, the best return on investment is to get in on an ICO. Now, an initial coin offering is much like an initial public offering when a company puts stocks onto the stock market. And this is a phase in which a company can offer tokens for investment funds to put out new products or launch a new software or whatever they need money to do. And ICOs usually run in stages. The pre-sale is the period in which a company can offer their tokens or coins to larger investors. And often, ICOs will reach their hard cap, or the limit they are hoping to reach, during the pre-sale. If they don't, or if they decide to issue additional tokens to retail investors or smaller speculators, then they will go ahead with a public sale. And they usually offer coins at discounted rates, depending on how early you get in on the public sale. Once the ICO is finished, and the company has released their coins to their investors, then the smaller investors are typically allowed to put their coins on an exchange. Now, doing so puts these assets into the definition of a security in the United States. And American law is very strict on regulations for securities. So an ICO has to be approved in all 50 states. And if a company is out of compliance in any of those 50 states, they can face not only local but also federal charges. So participation is usually limited or not offered at all to U.S. residents. South Korea and China have outright banned participation in ICOs, and so there are large sections of the population that cannot actually buy into an ICO during their run. Now, once the company is live, trading of their tokens or coins is available to most countries. But researching ICOs is a great way to get a jump on the coins that are coming to market for anyone living in America or South Korea or China, and they are not allowed to get into the ICO phase. This way you can do a majority of the research and have an idea as to what the company is about and how they're financed, and you can look to see how they run their operation during the ICO phase without any real investment in them. And two good places that I go to look up ICOs is coinschedule.com and ICOtracker.net. Now, coinschedule.com ranks things in gold and silver, and occasionally you'll see a platinum, but that's rare. One thing I don't like about CoinSchedule is they don't list what rubric they use to measure these ICOs. What I do find useful is the results page. And here you can see the total amount of dollars raised by previous ICOs. And if you file from top to bottom, you can see that the largest grossing ICO was Filecoin at $257 million. And that is a substantial high compared to the rest of the companies. Most were able to raise under $100 million. The majority being in the $25 to $50 million range. And this is important so that you can gauge where the competition is for ICO value. If we go back to the main page, you can see that they list the percentage of completion for the ICO and what sector they are in. But if we click on a panel, it takes us to a more detailed view. So it gives us access to the website and the white paper. It tells us where they're out of and what the total supply of coins is supposed to be. It'll also give you the run dates. But the most important part that I look for is the hard cap. And for Sharp Capital, they expect to raise $20 million during their ICO. And they give you a percentage breakdown of how they expect to use that $20 million. What I look for is if they have a large percentage devoted to the team and how much they have towards development. If you scroll further down, they'll give you links to other useful tools for a company, and they will go through the main team and advisors, if those are available, with LinkedIn profiles. And for some of them, they'll give you roadmap or event listings, which is useful to see if there will be anything to pump the hype behind a company during the ICO. And if you scroll further down, they have upcoming sales. And these are also ranked. In the listing, they aren't in panels. They have medal awards to give them. Again, there's no listing of the metrics used. And you can look at their blog postings. But more importantly, they give you a calendar of conferences and events coming up. So all of the big blockchain conferences and expos. Anyway, all the major events going on, and they list them fairly far in advance. So they go all the way up to June 2018 here. So I find CoinSchedule to be quite useful. But ICO Tracker has what CoinSchedule does not, and they have a checklist for their rating system. And I don't entirely agree with their 5-step rating system, but we'll see where they differ. At number 1, ICO Tracker has a white paper as most important for their rating system. And while a white paper is important, like a business plan is for a company, I am not sure that it belongs in number 1 spot. I would put product or usable service in this. If they have a prototype or if they offer some form of service, even an alpha level service, then that shows something physically representative of what the company is trying to achieve. And I think that's more important than the white paper. 2, they have a roadmap. And again, I believe that a company needs to have vision, and they should let their consumers know what they plan and when they plan to implement them. But number 2 is kind of a lofty rubric for the roadmap. At number 2, I would put financials. If the coin distribution is run smoothly and the total supply is in a nice boundary and they don't hold a huge amount for the team and for large investors, they have a lockup period or a maturation date, then those kind of ICOs are more financially sound. And I think that is far more important than either the white paper or the roadmap. At 3, they have team, and I do agree with this. I think number 3 should be team. If you have a solid team with lots of experience in related fields, that's great. But I think they also need all of the business end of things. They need a financial advisor, a compliance advisor, a legal advisor, or managers. They need these people in business roles. And I would actually include advisors in this section and also partnerships. So they need to have the experience as the team, and they need to have advisors, big names, well-known people, successful entities in their fields, and these people can answer questions for the team and keep them on a successful path. Partnerships is also included. I believe that companies that are backed by known fintech groups, known financial services, legal, all of the business to business end, those partnerships strengthen the foundation for a company to launch. Number 4 they have is escrow, and they don't exactly explain this very well, but I believe they mean an organization or third party to hold the funds collected during an ICO so that the company doesn't have access to the financials, and therefore reduces the fear of a company just going in to get the 20 to 50 to potential $200 million dollars that could be raised by an ICO. And in the past, this has been a problem. Some ICOs have cashed out and disappeared once their ICO is completed, and no company ever came out of all of that investment money. So I think that's a more important than number 4. I would put that in a financials section here at number 2. But I would include that with the token distribution as well, and all of the financial aspects of that. However, there have been some foundations or some organizations that held money for a company in the ICO phase that turned out to be untrustworthy, and so that's not even a safe bet to have there. So just something to watch out for. Now at number 5, they have ICO conditions, and I also agree with this. A company that runs a good ICO, like they have their financials down, they produce a well-defined white paper with a concise and apparent roadmap, and they can show their progress, and their distribution is a decent percentage, a manageable percentage. Their total supply is at the right place for what their company needs it to be. And they don't run an ICO that brings in too much money, but enough to give them the boost to get into their launch phase. Then the chances of a company that runs an ICO in that fashion has a much better chance of being a major player in the business world because they have everything put together well. So that's a bit about ICO trackers rubrics and how they measure their rating systems by. But if we go back to their page, you can see that, back to their home page, you can see that they don't exactly have a rating system on display. They don't give you much information right off the bat. They do give you the start and end dates of the ICOs, as well as how many tokens they have available during their ICO, and how many have been sold to date. These are good metrics to use because you can see what the initial supply of coins is going to be once they reach market. So if you see a coin or an ICO that's offering 500 million coins, you can gauge about where the price is going to be once they get to a certain market cap. So that's a bit about ICOs, how to research them, where to research them. And I hope that you've found this information helpful. I'm curious to know if you're in a country that doesn't allow you to participate in an ICO, how does that make you feel? And if you can participate in ICOs, what's going to be your top pick? So leave your comments below, and if you found any of this helpful, go ahead and click that like button and share it with all your friends. And if you want to get more from hashrelay.net, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click on that notification bell to be updated whenever I post a new video. So with that being said, I'll talk to y'all later.